So how are y'all doing today? We have Tiffany with starting and developing a vet science program. And so if y'all have any questions, y'all can put it in the chat. Otherwise, afterwards, we can put an open mic session so y'all can have any questions that you have. Just a reminder that it is being recorded for future reference. And we ask that you put on mute while we have it going. So if you want to start, Tiffany, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, so now you can see us in our PowerPoint, right?
Yes, you're in the smaller box up.
Perfect.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany from Wise County, and with me today, I have two of our vet science students. On this side, I have Riley Maggret, and on this side, I have Julia Karg. And we're going to walk with you today through our program and how we began the program, how we developed the program, and some of the tips and tricks that we've used along the way. And so I'm going to start this PowerPoint presentation. Sorry, just one second.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Sorry, we're having just a tiny bit of technical difficulties here. Okay, so in 2014, we began a vet science project with some young students, and our main goal was just to kind of figure out more about the veterinary career and find out what our students were interested in and how do we develop a program. And on this screen, you'll see two of the books that we began with. All of these books that we purchased were purchased through the 4-H online store. And these two books are beginning, and you can see at the bottom, the Airedales to Zebras is 3rd to 5th grade, and the All Systems Go is geared 6th to 8th grade. And so we kind of combined them, and what we did is we took a little bit of each out of the books and found activities that we liked or that we found interesting, and we started with those just kind of as a ground setting where we were going to begin. And what we did is we went out through those programs and we met Dr. Sarchette. One second, go close that door. Dr. Sarchette, he was a vet with Zoetis, and he came to us with a few hands-on activities, and we decided from that point on that we were going to do a lot of hands-on activities that first year. And here is a picture with Dr. Sarchette, and he brought in a calf and he taught us how to administer vaccines, all types of medicines, how to use different instruments, and we went through what that looked like in the field. He also taught us about beef quality assurance. And then that year we decided at the end of the year we were going to, before we looked at what the certification program would be, we decided to come up with activities we want to do. And so a few activities we began were we took eggs and we incubated them. We started at day 1, and every 3 days we took an egg out of the incubator. We wanted to see what the life cycle of the chicken from egg to hatching looked like, and this was the best way for us to do it. And a few of the eggs, I'll warn you, if you do this, do get a little stinky, but to find those hands-on activities that interested our students and what they wanted to learn more about. So we took every 3 days, we took an egg out, and we kind of set it aside, and at the end of the 21-day period when our eggs hatched, the ones that we had left in there, we went back and we opened each of the eggs to see those different developmental cycles. And so one of the things we asked our students was, what do you want to learn more about? What are you interested in? And we took those activities or ideas, and I went out to NRS, some of our feed stores, and just talked to them and said, this is what we're wanting to do. What kind of activities can you help us with? And we came in contact with vets that were mobile equine vets, small animal vets, Dr. Sarchette, who is actually a vet for Zoetis, the pharmaceutical company, and our extension agents helped us reach out and kind of just say, hey, we're looking into starting this project. These are the things that we want to do. And so finding those activities that you're interested in and just reaching out to specialists or someone that can donate those. Dr. Sarchette did get a calf for us that was chronically ill, and so we were able to give it injections in the correct spots, the incorrect spots that he taught us all. And then at the end of the 3 days, when we knew that that calf was going to pass away, we were able to do a necropsy on it. So just really reaching out to your veterinarians in the area is going to be one of the greatest resources that you have. At the end of that very first year, we knew that there was a skillathon. We had no idea what it looked like in the 4-H system yet because we hadn't looked at it. We were still just a fun project, not a certification project yet. And so as you can see in this picture, we have the top picture with the man with the cowboy hat. That is our equine mobile vet. And then in the bottom is Todd Vineyard. He was our one of our extension agents at the time. And we asked them to just to come up with a few skills or identifications. And so they provided tools and questions, and we walked through kind of a skillathon where we had a little written test that the vets came up with. We had multiple tools, a few parasites that they could identify, and then we just came up with a few skills. So that very first year was just, what did we want to learn? What did the kids want to know? And some of it was kind of yucky, like incubating the egg, and it got stinky, but it was very interesting for all of us just to get hands-on. We were very hands-on that first year. Then our second year, we moved into the actual certification program. And these are just a few of the guidelines that come in the certification program. It's for 4-H students, and you must be 12 years old to enroll into the program. It takes about 3 to 5 years to complete the program, depending on the age. Now, we have had some come in at 15 and complete it a little bit quicker because you cannot take your test until you're 16 with the Texas Veterinary Medical Association. Students will complete the curriculum. I'm going to show you those books in just a minute, and an apprenticeship in your chosen career track. In Wise County, we chose to take the clinical career track because that is the one where you're eligible to be certified through the Texas Veterinary Medical Association. And so there are a couple tracks, and that's one thing to look at in your county is what is your preferred track. The students who complete both the curriculum and the apprenticeship is 500 hours volunteering in a vet clinic. And that can look many different ways, and the students are going to talk to you about that here in just a minute. And then also in your chosen career track, you'll complete 100 lessons and at least 33 skills, but there are a whole lot more that you can do. And then graduates of the clinical track, which is what we have chosen, are eligible to take their certification test through the Texas Veterinary Medical Association by an online examination. And we have now had 3 students take that and are certified in our county. So these are the books that you will use for your program. The one on the left is the Veterinary Science Preparatory Manual. It has all 100 lessons in it. The one on the left, I highly suggest that every one of your students have. That has all identification in it. I'm going to actually show you one of those live so you can see how helpful these are. It's not easy to scroll. So in this book, if you guys can see that, the first few pages are your index and everything, but in this book is everything you're going to need to know. It has all of your breed identification lists, and what's even better is when you get to your breed identifications, it shows you the animal and it gives you all the information. It's going to tell you the name of it, the origin of it, its general standard weight, height, color, muscular, and these are all really important to know, not only for the veterinary career, but when you get to the skillathons, these are going to be extremely important. And it covers all your dogs, cats, any animal you have. There are some exotics in here that you may not find in other places, like your rodents. No. Can you guys, sorry. Yeah. So after the identifications of your animals, you also will get to the pages that are your tools. And it gives you the scientific names of all of your tools. All of these things are important to not only your certification test, but also your skillathon. At the very back of the book is what I think is one of the most important parts of the book, besides your organs. And it is the rubrics for all of the skills. I'm going to try to get the smallest skill on there. So these skills are the skills that you will be tested on through skillathons, and also when you are working on your certification. These are the skills that you will need to go through step by step. And it tells you, you can see this is a rubric for the contest and scoring on there, but it tells you the exact steps that you need to go through on there. And all 33 skills are in the back of this book. That's the veterinary science CDE book that's on the back, on the left-hand side. So a few things that we did that very first year when we started our certification program, as an adult, this is kind of more to the adult side, a few of these. One of the biggest things that I did is I went to all of our local vets and I introduced myself and I told them what the program was. A few of the vets had never even heard of this program, and so they were a little hesitant to let a 12-year-old come in and volunteer. So it's really important for us as the adults to go in and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're sending our kids in for, and show them the pages of the certification, just kind of so they know. Some of them want insurance verification, some of them don't. One of the greatest assets we found is that if you use a vet for your dog, your horse, your cat, anything, go to that vet first because you have a relationship with them already, and create a plan to begin those 500 hours. But the most important thing that we learned is when our students went into the veterinarian's office is that went in with a resume. Show them that you're serious about working in those vet offices, and a resume can be anything from like taking care of a dog, your own dog. Create a plan of how you fed your animal, your feeding plan, how often you handle your animal, whether you know if they're getting wormed, anything that you do with an animal, put that in your resume. And adults, as their facilitators, maybe have a resume development course. And we did that a little bit with our kids. It's like how to develop a resume and put those into professional words, not just I take care of my dog. Then get that plan with your vet. If there's any questions, we also wrote a letter to our vets for our students to take in, just to say, this student is coming to you from our 4-H program, they're working on their certification plan, and this is what they're needing, the 500 hours in the clinic, and you can explain what those 500 hours look like. We went out, especially I did, went out and I talked to our vets and our vet techs. We essentially are facilitators. There are some lessons in there that cover genetics and a few other more in-depth topics that I was not equipped to teach. So I had a vet come in to teach that. And I know that Tyler, who now is leading the program, he's equipped to come in and help you teach any of those, or find a facilitator to teach those for you. And we asked a lot of the vets, as our students came in, to please interview our students for those volunteer positions. Don't just let them come in and sign up and become a volunteer, but put them through the interview process. This helps them with their communication and their leadership and explaining why they want to do what they want to do. And the resume, we learned from our vets that the resume was one of the greatest things that they enjoyed seeing from their kids, to make them see that it was an important event for them to complete these hours and they were serious about it. And so just kind of what a year looks like for us in Wise County. Every year we add a new level and we start a new group of students. So we currently have 3 levels and we have graduated 1 level. And so we call them level 1, 2, and 3. They're real generic names. You can name them whatever you want. But level 1 is always our first year students. And those are our 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, our younger ones that have never had the program at all. Our level 2 is just moved up from the next year, and our level 3 is our oldest group. And typically our level 3, once all of those students hit 16, those are when we test them through the state, and that's a test that they have to sign up for. And there's a lot more information on the site on how to go through those tests. But level 1, we just have a new facilitator come in, and like I said, as volunteers, we're just facilitators. We do teach the lessons, we do prepare some of the things, but there's always vets that are willing to step in. We have learned in Wise County that our vets have been phenomenal in just saying, hey, I'm here to help you. You know, you've explained it to me. And we've also seen that a lot of the high school programs, the FFA programs, they're familiar with, so they're working hand in hand with us in those. So every year we start a new level and we begin that level. We typically meet once a month and we will cover one lesson. So each chapter has anywhere from 3 to 5 lessons in it. And so we'll just cover one lesson a month and one skill a month. And then during the year in Wise County, we have what's called STEM Day at our junior college. And they bring in all the 4th graders from all over the county and they have different booths set up. We teach at least 2 skills in our booth. And I think this is one of the best opportunities that our students have, not only for teaching the skill hands-on, but communication and leadership. It teaches them to communicate effectively. And students, if you do not have this in your county, I would suggest that as a vet science group that you get together and create your own STEM day or STEM activity and go into the classrooms and teach the students your skills. And at the end of the program here in a minute, I'm going to have the students teach their skills to show you exactly how we do it and what it looks like in a skillathon. And then the last thing that we do is in January, we begin our skillathon preparation and our skills practice. We have Houston Stock Show has a skillathon. Heart of Texas now has a skillathon, a vet science skillathon. Houston does, and then Roundup. Those are the 3 major ones for us in 4-H. There are a few smaller ones that you can find. McKinney has one and Denton County also has one. But the big ones are Waco, or Heart of Texas, Houston, and Roundup, sorry. So what we do is we begin in January, and every other week we meet with a certified veterinary tech that we have had volunteer for our county. We went to, and she comes in and teaches the skills that they're going to go through in a minute. And then we also go through questions and questions and questions that could possibly be on the test. And we have learned that, and we migrated through the last couple of years to use the 285 question bank that was created through Texas A&M. And I've listed here some great places to find those test banks and identifications that we use. Quizlet is a huge bank of information, and if you go to Vet Science CDE on Quizlet and just type that in, you will bring pages and pages of identification, questions. Specifically, when you are looking at Quizlet for questions, find those banks that have 285 questions or more in them, because those are the questions that they use straight on the test when you take your skillathon test. Under the resources, if you go to that Vet Med at TMU, teacher resources, there are lists for vet science and FFA vet science, and they have the videos, the hands-on skills videos that show you exactly how to do it. And then again, the rubrics at the back of the skills book are extremely handy because they tell you exactly how to step through it each time and walk through it so you do it the same exact way. So what we're going to do right now is the girls are going to escape. Sorry. One second. Stop sharing. Yeah. I'm sorry. There we go. We're good now? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to introduce these again. And what each girl is going to do is they're going to present to you a skill. They're going to do it exactly like it's done in a skillathon contest so that you can see what they do step for step. I'll tell you, as a facilitator and a volunteer, 2 of my biggest things that I always tell my kids is look them in the eye. So students, look your test administrator in the eye and shake their hand all the time, okay? So I believe Riley is going to go first, and so she'll tell you what skill she's going to do, and she's going to walk through it exactly like we practiced it, exactly like she would perform it, and then we're going to let Julia do it, and then the girls are going to share a few items with you, some of their likes, some of the things that were hardest. And so we'll just start with the skills, and then we'll go on from there.
Mom said, I'm Riley Maggret.
I'm Julia Clark.
And today we're going to demonstrate a few of the skills that we would do in a skillathon. And not only would you do these in a skillathon, but you also do these in a vet clinic. In the book that she showed y'all earlier, the career development, in the back are the rubrics. And what that means is you actually get graded for how well you do the skill. Each part of the skill has different points associated with it. And we will look over the rubrics before going to contests, and we'll also practice them. We'll practice talking about them, discussing it. And so we're just going to run through this, and Julia's going to pretend to be my judge, and I'll judge for her for our skills. And what I will be doing is I will be administering a subcutaneous injection.
Before they go on, I just want to say something really quickly. When we are in practice, we use as real as possible items as we can, and you will notice that when we get into contests, you may have some crazy things that they come up with because we can't have real items. So one of the things that Riley's using is, and we use this in our presentations with our STEM day, this is just a sock that we have stuffed. We have given injections from socks, oranges, stuffed animals, water bottles. So just prepare, just know the steps, but be prepared when you go in, and when you guys are practicing, you can practice with anything. So just remember that you'll see some different things used in here. And when you are in with vet techs and the clinic, you'll see the real items. And then when you're in contest, you may walk in and see a sock and be like, oh my goodness. So don't fret about it. Just always follow the steps and you'll see how they do.
And before you go into contest, they'll give you a list of different skills they might pull from, so you can prepare a little better for that. But we're just gonna start.
And even if you're not sure, the judge will tell you before you actually do anything. So, all right, Riley, you're going to be administering a subcutaneous injection. First introduces.
I'm Riley Maggret, and I'm from Wise County 4-H. And today I will be administering a subcutaneous injection. So I will take my syringe here, and I will go ahead and uncap the needle. And I will use my thumb and forefinger to pinch the skin, raising it up, creating kind of like a triangle or a tent. Then I will take my syringe and needle and insert the needle at the base, parallel to the body, making sure not to go in. I will aspirate slightly or pull back on the syringe to make sure there's no blood and I'm in the correct spot. Since there's no blood, I will administer, pull out, place this in the sharps container. Then I will massage the area and praise my patient.
Good job.
And another thing too is we actually don't use needles in contests anymore. A girl accidentally stabbed herself and it went into her finger pretty well, so we don't use needles at contests anymore.
All right. And so I'm going to be filling a syringe for injection, and Riley is going to play my judge. Hello, I'm Julia Clark from Wise County 4-H, and today I will be filling a needle for injection. So first, I'll determine the amount that needs to be placed into it, which this is a rabies vaccine, so it's going to be 1 milliliter. And then I will select the proper syringe and needle to fill it, and then I will uncap my needle, place it into the vial, turn it upside down, holding it securely in one hand, then withdraw the desired amount, which again is 1 milliliter. And then once I have that, I will remove it from the bottle, and then I will gently snap or flick the needle to get all the air bubbles to the top, or I could gently expel on the plunger to get all the air out. And then once that is done, I will take my needle and I will place it into the sharps container. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
So a couple of the really, really important things to remember when you're doing your skills is that you talk through it. That's one of our biggest rules in Wise County. When we're practicing every time, they talk through it. Every single step. The more you talk through it, the better you know it. And when you're in contest and you're talking to that judge and you're walking through the steps and they know you know what you're doing, you're going to get a lot more points. So vet techs can teach these. Adults, when you're facilitating this, go out to your vets, and sometimes your vets aren't able to come out there, but they have a lot of certified vet techs, and it does not have to be a certified vet tech to teach the skills. However, if you have a certified vet tech teaching the skills, then those hours will count towards the 500 hours that your students are working on. So if you have a vet tech come in your weekly meeting or your monthly meeting to practice and they are certified and go over a skill, then students can claim those or record those hours, and that will count towards their 500 hours. Another thing that you saw them do is, of course, shake their hand and talk through it. And we have gone through all of these skills within a year. So one of the things I asked the girls to do is, one of the things they're going to tell you right now is one of their favorite things about the program or what they really liked about the program. And just kind of to give you an idea, Riley is a senior. She's headed to Oklahoma State University next year. She is certified. Julia just turned 16, and so within the next couple months, Julia will be taking her test, and they have both completed the program. So Riley and Julia, share a like or one of your favorite parts.
So one of my favorite parts about this program definitely is meeting people who have the same interests and also making a lot of connections. So either at contests or just within the vet clinics that you're volunteering and getting those hours. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself, make that connection. Tell them, hey, this is what my end goal is. I want to be a vet, or I want to be an assistant, or I'm just looking around to see if this is even something I'm interested in. More than likely, they're going to say, that's awesome. They're going to take a little time out of their day to share with you their journey to become a vet or a tech, and they're going to help you get to your end goal. And they really just want to help you do that. So take the opportunity that this has, the doors that it opens is amazing, and please utilize that.
Mm-hmm. What I like about it is I get to be more hands-on with what I love doing, and I get to learn more about it, because I remember when I was really little, I wanted to be a vet, and I was like, oh, it's all puppies and kittens. But once I actually get into the clinic and see what's going on, I understand that, oh, there's a deeper level to this, and I absolutely love learning about that. So I think that's a very good highlight for the program.
When you begin your programs, one of the things that I want to add is as adults and even as students, when you begin your programs, our very first level 1 class was 32 students. When we completed level 3 with these students, we had 6. So it's not for everybody, but one of the greatest things is that you can decide if it is for you or if it is not. But don't panic if you have students that are like, oh, this just isn't for me, and step out. The certification program is much different than just a project, and where the project you can do more hands-on. With a certification, you can do hands-on, but you've got to add those lessons and those hours into there. And students, they talked about volunteering in the vet clinics, and I want each of them to tell you, when you began volunteering in the vet clinic, did you start off working with animals and giving injections? What did you guys do?
If by working with animals you mean scooping poop, then yes.
Yeah. Or cleaning dog food bowls.
Yes.
I did a lot of bowls.
So when you start, go ahead.
So when you start in a vet clinic, it's pretty much that same basis as if you were going to work, and that is that trust is earned, it's not given. You have to show that you really want this, and as long as you work hard and you're respectful, most of the time that hard work is going to be rewarded. And I remember my first at least 8 months of being at a clinic, all I was doing was cleaning kennels, cleaning dishes. Every once in a while I was allowed to watch them get shots, and so that really wasn't very interesting. But as I stayed there and as I built a relationship with the clinic that I was in, I eventually started being able to help either with surgeries, or I learned how to monitor anesthesia while dogs were getting neutered or spayed. And then by my junior year, they actually had a position open up, and I was old enough, and I got hired on at both of the vet clinics that I volunteered at for this program.
And you're currently still working in what you can do. Now Riley is still working at them, and she can do everything but surgeries because she has been there long enough. And so just know that you're going to maybe start sweeping floors. Julie, tell us about your experience.
My experience, I've been working at 2 vets. The first vet I went to, I just cleaned dishes, cleaned the kittles, and like they board dogs, so I helped board dogs and walk dogs. And every once in a while I would go in a treatment and then watch them like prepare a dog for surgery or give shots, and I thought that was really cool. Then I went to another vet clinic and I built up trust there too, and of course I started with cleaning, but that's how you always start. And then I was allowed to watch them take blood, and I even got to take blood on a couple of dogs. I'm still building up that trust, but we're getting closer. And I've gotten to stand in on a couple of spays and neuters, so that's always fun. And that's what I like about it.
So what has been the hardest part of this program for you?
So when you first asked me to prepare what the hardest part for this program was for me, I honestly didn't have an answer to it. Because I thought that we did a really good learning as we went. And every time we hit something that we're like, oh, maybe that wasn't the best way to do it, we would change it. And we would experiment. I was the first level to come through, so we really didn't know what we were going to be doing next until we started doing it and we worked out those kinks. So it was cool to be that experiential and to be that learning. But I do remember now the hardest thing about this program for me was a conversation that we had with Dr. Matz, which was the leader and head doctor over this program for a while. And he came out just to every new program and talked to them. And he sat us all down and he asked us a question. He said, why do you want to become a vet? And I remember the general consensus for all of us really was, we love animals. And that is a great place to start from. But he shut us down right there and he said, that's not good enough. You see, you have to love animals, but you also have to be ready and willing to deal with their owners, because every pet has an owner. You also have to be compassionate about their well-being and care, and then you have to love learning, because it's a hard journey to get from high school all the way to being a veterinarian. It's a lot of college, it's medical school, late nights, early mornings, studying hard. And so loving animals, that is a great place to start, but you need more than that.
About the same for me too. The hardest part is realizing, as I said before, there is more than just kittens. You actually have to know how to manage animals as well as manage people. But as you get into the program, it gets easier to understand that.
So a few takeaways I want to make sure that you get, and we're always here in Wise County to answer any questions, how we develop furthermore if we haven't hit on that. So the biggest thing is when you are starting your vet science project, that first year, just start hands-on activities. Just determine what you want that program to look like. If you want it to be a certification program, then 4-H lays out the guidelines. If you don't want it to be a certification, there are tons of books on the 4-H site that cover activities all the way from 3rd grade to 12th grade. And that's just where we started. We just got those books, opened them up and said, okay, kids, what do we want to learn? What do we want to do? Find those hands-on activities. You know, if you want to incubate eggs and take them out every 3 days like we did and then dissect them, or if you want to talk to a vet. A lot of our vets here have contacted us after we went in and said, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we want. We'll get phone calls and be like, hey, we have a goat that we're about to perform a necropsy on. Do you guys want to come in? And that was probably one of the coolest. We actually said yes, we wanted to go in. And the vet that was working with us, she taught us all about necropsies before we ever touched it. And then each one of the kids did the cutting and learned the scalpels and everything. So just really, really go into your vet's offices and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And if you don't have a vet science project, go into the vet's office and just say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to become a vet. I need to start somewhere. And you can start counting your hours if you want to work towards your certification program, and let them just give you the hands up. But remember, you're going to start sweeping floors, cleaning kennels, and work your way up. Everyone starts somewhere. So at this time, if there's any major questions in the chats that we can answer, we will. And then that's all we have, unless there's any major questions. I'm trying to see if there's any questions over there about how to start the program in your county.
I didn't see any questions.
Also, any questions about what a skillathon looks like, or on the student side, what is that looking like?
Okay. We have a question over here. It says, an incoming junior, is there time for me to start the 500 hours? I turned 16 in a month. Yes, there definitely is. So we have actually had a student complete the 500 hours in a year. And you do not have to test right at 16. You can test, you just cannot test till you're 16. That's one of the rules. Did you have a question?
I was also just going to point out, she said that she's been shadowing an event for 3 years. If there's any way to backdate
So,
those.
yes, you can backdate those. What you will need to do is have your vet write a letter. There's actually a sign-off sheet if you'll go to the vet science program on the 4-H link, most counties have it. If not, just go to Texas 4-H, and there is a log sheet that they have, and you'll just need to put those hours in. You can go and write that, and she's going to get one so you can show, and then have the vet sign off on those, and that's actually what you will turn in when you do your certification test through TVMA. And if you want, I can share our information at the end in the comments, and you can send us your information, and I can share where you need to go take the test. But yes, you definitely can, and you can do it within a year. It's just going to be a little tougher. Where did you get the resource? Okay, so all the resource books come from the 4-H online store. So just type in Texas 4-H store, and you go to curriculum, and drop down under curriculum, it's agriculture on animals. They have the ones that we showed at the beginning, which are the Airedales to zebras. There's also a whole section that's just mammals or oceanography, and any of those books. With the younger group, is a great. You can start a vet science project at 3rd grade and just have a more hands-on approach to it, where you're just doing activities. And then when you hit that 12 years, switch to the preparatory training and the certification program. And all those can be found under Texas 4-H store, curriculum, animals, and agriculture. No, not at all. The skillathon is just fun contest for us to do. We do have students that are in our program for certification that do not compete in skillathons at all. The skillathons are just something extra for you to do, fun contests. That way you can go to the Houston Stock Show and the Heart of Texas Stock Show. And there's also, you can do the program on your own, even if the certification program on your own, even if you don't have it in your county. It's available. Tyler is the head of the department now, and he has lots of resources for you that you can, if you have any questions, or you feel free to contact us in Wise County and we can help you.
So the skillathons honestly are a little scary to go into at first because there are a lot of rounds to it. You have the identification, you have the ID, and also have a hands-on skills round. And if you make it through on the top 5 of those rounds, then you go into a speech round and you give a speech on a topic that they give you 15 minutes to prepare the speech for. And so that sounds overwhelming and a little scary. And at first it kind of is, but I would recommend doing the skillathons, even if you don't necessarily want to be competitive at it, or if you're just thinking you want to go in and be certified. It helps you prepare for that final test. It helps you study throughout and kind of get experience with that time test and see what that's going to look like. It's not necessarily exactly what's going to be on your TVMA certification test, but it helps prepare you for that. It also gets you that hands-on practice with the skills in front of a judge, knowing if you're doing it right or not.
Okay, so there's a few asking it. If your county does not offer this program, can you do it by yourself? Yes, you can completely do it by yourself. What I would suggest you do is go to your extension office and ask them to order the books for you. One, I think it's a little cheaper on shipping, but I'm not 100% sure. The books, or you can order the books yourself. We ordered all the CDE books ourselves. If you're going to do the program yourself, make sure you get the preparatory training manual and follow the clinical track, and also get the books that you want. Where's the book? So this is the CDE book that's going to have all the identification and everything in it. So you want to make sure you get this book for yourself. And then you also,
I don't have the cover on it, but
we've lost the cover. Let me see if I can, where's the table of contents?
my book's a little beat up.
They've used these books a lot. But yes, you definitely can do it by yourself. Or you can just go to the 4-H store and order it, and then go to Texas 4-H and look, veterinary science certification program, and it has all the requirements on there for you. And like I said, I'll share my information that way if anybody has any questions after this. Any other questions if they were missing? Oh, this is, and you could actually make one of these yourself. Someone was asking that they had already shadowed for 3 years. Can you guys see that? So just at the top, it says veterinary apprenticeship. Sorry, I can't read it from here. Log sheet. And so you just want to make sure, let me see yours, that you have the date, the clinic name, the veterinary name. So that's where your veterinarian, you don't need it to sign there. They need to sign at the very end of the signature. Observation hours versus clinical hours. The 500 hours, it does not matter if they're all observation or if they're all clinical. The difference is the observation hours are just going to be if you're just standing there watching them do something, whether it be surgery or injections, that's your observation. Clinical is where you're hands-on. You're sweeping the floor, you're making name tags.
And something else that we didn't even think about, laundry, anytime you're cleaning, that's disinfecting, and so it counts as clinical skills.
So anything you're doing with your hands, those are clinical skills. Anything that you're watching or observation. And so it doesn't matter. You can have 500 observation hours that the vet signs off of, or you can have 500 clinical hours that the vet signs off on. Or a mixture of them. The book is called, let me see. It's the prepper. I'll share this. Let me go back to that. Hold on. Let me go back to that slide really quickly for you. I'm leaning over a table here. Okay, so we're going to share the screen really quickly on here. There we go. Just kidding. We got it. Okay, so the book on the right, it says veterinary science. It's preparatory training for the veterinary assistant. That's going to be the book that has your 100 lessons in it and all of your questions. That's the one your test is going to come from. When you test through TVMA, the Texas Veterinary Medical Association, this is the study book. The one on your left is the veterinary science career development book. That is the one that has all of the pictures in it. And these are going to be your breed identifications, your parasite, your tools. So you want to make sure you have both of these books, because the blue book on the right, the veterinary science book for the preparatory training, does not have all of the tools in it and all of the descriptions of breeds. Okay.
Are there any more questions?
Okay, and so I'm going to type in really quickly my information there in Wise County. If you have any more questions, or those that do not have a program in their county and want help setting up, how many 100 lessons to complete. Oh, you do not have to complete any lessons before you volunteer in a clinic. The biggest is just go to the clinic, and I would suggest you go to a clinic that you use, whether it be for your dogs, your cats, any clinic you use, and tell them what you are doing, because it will help that you already have a relationship with them. Okay, so here's my email in the chat. It will help that you have a relationship with them rather than going to a veterinarian that you've never met before. So just go and explain what you want to do, and then you can get in there. The lessons you will do on your own. Okay, if there are not any more, I will wait a minute and see if there's any other questions that we can answer about that. And if you want to start a project in your county and you're having a little bit of trouble, feel free to contact us, or Tyler is very helpful. He is now the head of the program. How long do the lessons take to finish? It depends on how fast you are. The lessons are very short.
Some of them are very short, and then some of them are longer than others, because I know the genetics lesson was like extremely long, but the introductory lessons are like 1 to 2 pages.
Yes. So it's at your own pace, unless you are kind of set within a program, but it's at your own pace. So, you know, we've had people finish this in a year. We've had people finish it quicker, but just remember that you cannot take a test to be certified until you're 16, and you will be licensed through the Texas Veterinary Medical Association. Yes, there are lectures that can be purchased with it, and if you go to the Peer website through TAMU, the VetMed site, they also have a lot of hands-on lessons that you can add into your program. And there's a lot of free lessons at the TAMU Peer site, and we'll put that one down there. Yeah. So, and one of the things that they said, the books are a little more pricey. I believe the Veterinary Science Preparatory Manual has gone up to $85, but you will use it throughout. Our kids have used it throughout the whole entire 4 years of the program that they've been in it, and some of them that are going off to college will use it in their classes. Well, thank you all for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, my email is in there, and we are from Wise County, and you can always contact Wise County Extension Office, and they can direct to one of the leaders. And I hope we've answered your questions and given you a little more excitement for the program and developing a project in your county. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Okay.